Well, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Tech Talk with Zyxel and our Zyxel partner introduction. We do this once every month, maybe the first week, first Tuesday of every month. So we will like to introduce to you some new information if we have that for especially for new partners like yourself. Thank you for being here. If you have any issues with the sound or anything like that with the video, let me know. We want this to be interactive. So if you at any point in time you have any questions or comments or anything you would like me to stop and explain, please use the Q&A section or the chat box, and I will get to them as we move along in this time together. So we have a lot of slides to cover because there's a lot to learn about Zyxel. And so thank you again for being a partner of Zyxel or looking at becoming a partner of Zyxel. So I want to, again, just go through a high level of kind of the key things that you want to know about. And we have a lot of time. I mean, we have some time together here, and we got a lot of slides to cover. And so let's go through with the introductions. Just real quick, by show of hands, how many of you are brand new partners here at Zyxel? Okay. All right, thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and just jump in real quick and talk about who Zyxel is. So Zyxel is now Zyxel Networks. We have been in the business for 30 years, established in 1989, 100 million devices now currently connecting, making global connections worldwide. We have 600 employees worldwide, serving 150 markets. 700,000 businesses work smarter with Zyxel solutions. And that's where we primarily focus in. We do have a lot of kind of key accounts and telco service providers on that side of the business. But in Zyxel network side of the company, we primarily focus on the channel and in the small business space. Anywhere between 5 users to 1,000 users is kind of a sweet spot for us. And we have products that fulfill that across the board. We are internationally recognized for our innovation and design. Winning awards every year for different technologies and different product lines, etc. And so we really are passionate about that. We are established, especially in our security space, being certified for the last 20 years straight. So 20 consecutive years being ICSA certified, meaning that our products are interoperable with other ICSA certified product lines out there, especially on the security side, and also our firewalls, our UTM being verified by an independent third party through ICSA. We are solutions driven, and you as clients of ours and partners of ours have direct access on what kind of products we want to put together and use. And so you give us feedback to what features you're looking for, maybe what products you're looking for, and we get to work directly with our own R&D employees over in our headquarters side and also in the US to develop new products, develop new feature functionalities, and improve the interface, the interactions, and the functionalities of it. I mean, in fact, we just are releasing this month in the next couple of weeks for our security firewalls, a 4.60 firmware that adds a bunch of new security functionalities, and that just gets upgraded into your existing platform devices out there. So we really pride in our, about a third of our workforce, over a third of our workforce is all R&D facility people worldwide. We have a comprehensive portfolio from an end-to-end network delivery system. We provide anything that connects to an internet connection or into a network. Usually we want you to remember, hey, if there's something network related, Zyxel must have something to fulfill that, either in the central office, in the small business, in the home. We have security appliances that do UTM, wireless solutions, giving you hotspot capabilities and multiple SSIDs for different vertical applications, LAN connectivity for your central or your core switch networks with fiber, with PoE, all those kinds of uplinks, 10 gig uplinks, everything you can think of, gateway solutions that provide the hotspot login for your guest network access, and network management, both in a standalone function and also managed inside the cloud as well. So we have whatever type of business model you're looking at doing, Zyxel has something that will fit into that. So the first topic, it's pretty much an important topic that we really are pushing And I think it's where a lot of businesses out there are not, really set up for it, is about security. Network security is a big thing in terms of having the ability to make sure that your networks are safe, and the activities of remote users that are working maybe from remote, using VPNs, making sure that that's as secure as possible. And also the traffic that's coming through that is also as secure as possible as well. So some interesting threat statistics: 54% of small businesses think that they're too small for a cyber attack. And it's quite an interesting fact because, most people don't think that their business of 2 or 3 people may, be targeted for any kind of cyber attack. But if you think about it, a lot of the zombie devices that are out there nowadays, they don't care which, company size you are. They're just looking for a host, looking for computers to infect so that it can be utilized for other purposes. So if you've ever plugged in a network router that has an interface or a firewall on it, the moment you connect it to the network and it has an IP, a public facing IP address, you'll start noticing within probably seconds that you're starting to get hit with and bombarded with either types of traffic, or people are checking, ping checking, or even viruses that are coming by, because they're so proliferated out there on the internet that it's going to be checking your IP addresses all the time. 47% of small businesses have no understanding how to protect themselves against cyber attack. And this is very important, where you come in as a partner to bring that level of education and also information, and also the solution how to protect that small business against these kinds of attacks. 60% of small businesses that are victims of cyber attacks go out of business within 6 months, because again, too, some of the smaller businesses don't have maybe the buffer for things to go down, right? So if you're only an operation of a couple of servers, or maybe a couple computers and a few employees, if all of a sudden those get hit and go down, you could be down for quite a while, or the recovery of that, if you lost all the data in that process, could be devastating to some businesses there. 43% of breach victims are small businesses. So again, there are being attacked, right? Anybody who's connected to the network, into the internet, will all face the same internet space that's out there when we plug into the public internet. 424% increase in small business cyber attacks last year. So again, it's continued to increase because there's always more small businesses getting faster internet connections. Every 39 seconds, there's a hacker attack. And 54% of small businesses don't have a plan to go and to react to and fix the process of any kind of cyber attacks that they may be facing. So really, it's just a matter of time. People think that it won't happen to me, it's not on their radar, but then all of a sudden they are hit. And most of the attacks, they're agnostic. They don't care what size of business you are, and the threats don't care if you're what kind of business you are as well. Either way, we face the same internet traffic, or we face the same internet as a corporation or an enterprise. And so people usually say time is money. And if the business is down because some sort of ransomware attack, then there's a lot of time and money lost. Of course, we also have higher applications and an increased need for speed. As businesses now move to a cloud-based application, more and more devices are connected to the internet, and therefore require higher WAN connectivity. In fact, now with remote users, we're remotely connected at home, the connection is also, the requirements for the connections at the WAN side is also increased. And so typically, even in general, a user will have 3 to 4 devices that are connected. They're using voice, video, data, different types of applications. They may have backup servers. They have other network devices that are on the PC as well. And with increased speeds that are available to businesses, this is where you may see, as you're installing or maybe replacing devices in an existing network, that the internet connection is now much greater than what that device can do. So there is a potential for a big upgrade cycle for a lot of businesses that are out there now, upgrading their internet connectivity, because they're pushed to a higher speed requirement for those remote users to gain access to the office. So that puts a big strain on the internet network device, the gateway firewall router. And of course, it's easy to test how fast your internet is. We just go to speedtest.net, we hit the go button, and it tells you how fast it is. And if your WAN speed, you're paying for a 300 meg connection, and you do a speed test and you get 150, that's an instant red flag of why is it going so slow. You as the service provider, or as the managed service provider, is going to get calls of, how do I make it, maximize the speeds that I'm paying for? Because nobody wants to pay for something that then they can't use it. And the speeds that they're getting is way lower than what they're paying for, right? So again, putting a firewall in place that not only provides you with the security you need and be able to do it at a speed that is that meets the requirements of that business, it becomes very important to do that. So we have a all-inclusive device, or actually a lot of our series is an all-inclusive UTM capable device where it provides antivirus, content filtering, layer 7 scanning with different applications. So it's application aware, being able to block things like YouTube or Skype or BitTorrent, a lot of those kinds of applications by the applications themselves. So you definitely need that layer 7 scanning to look at and be able to control those kinds of access to those kinds of applications. And you can do it very granularly as well. You can say, hey, these specific types of users, these profiles have this profile of blockage, right? The content filtering can be a different profile on a normal employee versus the management employee. You can change how the behavior is and be able to control all that as well. GeoIP enforcement allows for security to come from traffic to come from just approved locations. So if traffic is coming from countries or areas that doesn't need to be, maybe outside the US or maybe in specific countries that you don't want the connectivity to come from, you can actually block that as well. Kevin asks the question, does these protection devices have Nebula connections? So we do have Nebula capable application or devices already in our NSG product line. And I'll talk a little about our NSG product as well for the Nebula. Now, we are releasing in the first quarter of next year, our USG Flex line will have a firmware that goes into Nebula. So you'll have USG Flex. I'll introduce what USG Flex is if you don't know what it is right now, that will go to the Nebula platform as well. Ultimately, all the products we're trying to get into the Nebula platform. We already have a security appliance that's in the Nebula platform, but it's not of the higher speed throughputs of the newer hardware. So that's where you'll find that in the Q1 section, and they'll be it'll be upgradable to that new to Nebula support. Sandbox machine learning and our ATP, being able to protect things that may be unknown, botnet malware blocker, intrusion prevention protection for different applications, reputation filter to match up different IP addresses, etc. Excuse me. Good thing I have a mute button. And reputation filter, intrusion detection. So a lot of applications that you may be doing in the hospitality or in the healthcare industry, or maybe in financing, requires, HIPAA requirements require you to have intrusion prevention. PCI compliancy also require this level of protection as well to be compliant. So I wanted to introduce to you the USG Flex. This is our newest line of firewalls. These replace our current USG products in terms of it's the next generation of them. The existing USG product line will still continue for a little while longer, but we want you to transition and your customers as they come through an upgrade cycle to move towards the USG Flex. And we'll talk about how to upgrade to them and how to best utilize and some of the things that Zyxel has done to make that process easier, more efficient, and more cost effective for you as well. But it provides some flexible services. We offer both a hardware only and a bundled product for all the different models. So USG Flex 100, 200, and 500. These are available now. They are, there's also a USG Flex 100W and a USG Flex 700 that is also coming available this month. They have, again, both a bundled and non-bundled version. So the non-bundled is just USG Flex 100. If you've actually sold our ATP product line in the past year or so, the numbering is the same in terms of the similarities in the positioning. So you have your ATP 100, you also have a USG Flex 100 that's in that space. Now, the main difference between a USG Flex and an ATP is that the ATP provides you with the full sandboxing capabilities of that zero-day threat. And I will talk about what the ATP does there as well. But USG Flex is probably your most, will be your most common mainstream firewall, again, because it has high throughput UTM and high throughput firewall capabilities, being able to manage it in a standalone, in a CLI fashion through command line. And then in the Q1 next year, we'll have Nebula, can be upgradable and flexed into the Nebula platform as well. So you get a full range of products that will allow for you to do that. The main differences is just throughput. Now, keep in mind, the UTM throughput is, if you're doing UTM, like if you're putting security, unified threat management security, like the antivirus, intrusion detection, content filtering, et cetera, if you're putting that onto a customer's network, make sure you look at the actual throughput number here. Let me get my laser pointer out here. The UTM throughput number on your data sheet. This one has an E on it. It's our extended, our enhanced version of UTM. That's using, and I'll talk about what enhanced version is, but whatever the number is here, you usually want to take about 50 to 60% of that number, and that's your actual kind of more realistic number of throughput. So for USG Flex 100, it's probably best to use it in a 100 to 150 megabit per second connection. That's where you kind of want to gauge how to position them into your customer. Now, if the customer needs a higher speed, then of course you have to go to a higher speed. If you have like a 300 meg connection, then a USG Flex 200 is probably more suitable for that if you're doing full UTM. Now, if you buy the hardware only version and only want to use it as an SPI firewall and a very capable full throughput, full managed firewall, then you can look at the SPI firewall throughput and again, take that same kind of the same thing, use about 50 to 60% of that number, and it'll give you that, where to gauge your customers in. Again, we're certified for the last 20 years, like I mentioned earlier, and we use and partner with some of the leading security specialists out there in the market: McAfee, Webroot, Last4Line, Trend Micro, Bitdefender, providing the back end systems, signatures, and also in the cloud-based as well. So we've moved to the cloud. So we want to introduce to you Express Mode. This is something that has come out recently in our 4.38 firmware, and it also applies to our USG Flex, and the ATP product line. Express Mode's been designed to really significantly improve the performance of UTM. Because instead of using the traditional stream-based where it's scanning all the traffic itself within the firewall, it is now going to use AI in the cloud to manage and to check for any kind of threats that are out there in the cloud. So you can see the main differences there, USG and the USG Flex. You can choose between the different modes. You can choose Express Mode, which is a cloud query, or you can do the stream mode, which is your normal, local signature-based scanning. So it's a deep scan on the USG Flex. Now the ATP can choose either one, or it can do a hybrid mode where it will do both cloud and the stream method as well. So better hardware, better platform has that extra option to be able to do that. But again, USG Flex is going to be where most of our customers, and that's where our bread and butter is in that USG Flex kind of line. So another overview, the Express Mode, it uses hash matching over the cloud. So all the files that exist or can be found or has been discovered, they continue to enhance that within the cloud. And by doing a hash match, it's a much faster, much more efficient way of checking to see if a file is infected or not. But of course, it does provide or does require internet connectivity. So that's maybe the negative of it, is you cannot use it in a closed system environment. Deep scan mode does and requires the signature matching, and it supports an offline mode, but it is limited because the hardware could be limited to how fast it can scan, and also the number of signatures is limited by how much memory is in the hardware itself. So, it still will provide great protection. That's what we've been using for years, but we do have that Express Cloud mode to add to that and go kind of to the next level as things have been moved to the cloud. Now, hybrid mode is your best option because it provides both. It can do both the cloud and within the deep scan, but it comes with a higher cost because you have to buy the ATP product line, which is, the premium flagship product. So we wanted to educate you on how to, if you already have a existing USG platform product, how do we go and move from a USG to a USG Flex? Kevin also asked, is USG your line to compete with SonicWall? Yes. I mean, actually, USG and ATP product lines will compete against SonicWall, because it depends on, SonicWall has their kind of hardware only. They have one with the base security, and then they have their AGSS, which is the advanced gateway security platform suite. The advanced one has sandboxing, so that's where you would compete with the ATP product line. But in your general, your TZ series type products, TZ 100, 200, 250s, 300s, those are all within our USG line. And it depends on if they go sandboxing, and then you have to go to an ATP version of it. So that's why our naming convention is similar to our ATP. We have an ATP 100, we have a USG Flex 100, we have an ATP 200, and a USG Flex 200. So it's within the same system. You just have to move up whether or not you have sandboxing requirements or not. All right, so if you want to upgrade from an existing USG product line, we've made the migration simpler, especially for your customers who have, existing services that are already there. We may have customers who say, hey, look, I got 7 months of web content filtering left. And then because they maybe have bought a la carte, maybe there's a mismatch, right? There's some IDP that's 4 months left. This is kind of the worst extreme kind of case, possible, just as an example. So all the services are in different, termination times, right? So what we've actually done is not only do we provide you with a discounted trade up program or trade in program for your USG, migrating your USG to a USG Flex, but what we've done is when you do the migration through and transfer the licenses through using our portal, it actually, what we'll do is we will add, we'll extend all the services to all co-terminate at the same time with whatever was the most. So you can see all of the other services now have 7 months left on their system once they've transferred it over to the USG Flex. Now this can transfer over to a hardware only platform as well. You don't necessarily have to buy the bundled version of the USG Flex. You can still transfer existing licenses from a, from a USG to an unbundled USG Flex. And of course, it's done free of charge. We will just extend it to the longest remaining period. Now, of course, if you bought a bundled version, which comes with a 1 year, you can add it still. So it takes that extra 7 months, it adds it to the 12 months that you already had. So now this particular customer in this example, you now have 19 months of services to provide to that new customer or to that existing customer with a new hardware platform. So that really helps with, being able to migrate customers at whenever time is convenient, right? And you don't necessarily have to wait. Before, we've had partners and customers says, all right, I'm gonna wait till the very last day to maximize all of my services, and then I will upgrade, right? So you don't have to wait anymore. You can just say, hey, you know what, this customer needs faster speeds because what he's getting installed, they won't have to feel like, hey, I just bought this device, I still have 7 months left. This transfer allows for that to happen. And of course, you can kind of manage the price differences if you need to, if you're doing a managed service provider thing, or most people will say, yeah, I'm upgrading to a newer speed. I'm okay with having to upgrade to a newer hardware, but at least the services will come along as well. So that really helps with the migration. And we have the migrations of the devices themselves. So if you're using a USG 40, that migrates over to the USG Flex 100 and the 100W. The 60 goes over to the USG Flex 200. 110 and 210 have been combined to go over to the USG Flex 500. And the 310, which is coming out this month, is the USG Flex 700, which we will see this month. So the other thing to also keep in mind as well, in a lot of our documentations for at least maybe the first year or so, or even our online documentation, we will try to say USG Flex 100, and in parentheses, we will say USG 40 V2. So this is kind of the V2 version of a USG 40 using the newer hardware, but its new name will be USG Flex. But we were going to put that and include that information as part of the packaging, even says so. It's in the box. That way it helps with the migration, and just for you don't have to mentally memorize what's the exact mapping, right? But in general, you'll start to get that feel of it. And again, we put that in our descriptions and stuff like that if you want to check that online. We do all of our licensing, and this is a very important spot in what we call myzyxel.com. This is where all of the licenses for the devices, activations, registrations of those services, and activations of those services happen within myzyxel account, myzyxel.com. It monitors the expiration dates, and it allows for you to get in that information for you to then be able to call the customer and be able to see, hey, you're up for a renewal, and gives you a point of touch, a reason to call the customer as well. Now, if you are already a partner with us, I want you to go to your myzyxel.com account, or if you haven't made one yet, go to myzyxel.com. If you've bought any of our security appliances, you already probably have a myzyxel.com account to manage that device already. But if that's the account that you're going to manage for your company, or that is your company account, make sure that at the top there is a button that says request reseller view, and also to contact your sales rep to request marketplace management, marketplace pricing. And I'll talk about what marketplace is, and I'll show you an example of what it is as well. But basically, this allows for you to get reporting. People get to choose your company as the managed VAR or managed partner, and that gives you visibility in your account on what licenses and what devices are up for renewals on their account, right? So they've added you as that's the device, their device, and they want you to manage it for them, or you add, or you create an account for them, and you add yourself as the managing entity. That way you get the visibility within your own platform, your own pane of glass and view. So we've just introduced what we call Marketplace. Marketplace now allows for you to buy and renew licenses from a keyless kind of, in a keyless way. Before, you have to go buy a license key, and then go to myzyxel, enter that in, and then apply that key to the device that you wish, right? It becomes a little bit cumbersome about how to buy it, where to buy it. Now, through Marketplace, you could choose the device that you want to manage, look at what licenses are available for it, and buy any kind of renewals and upgrades that you need for that device. So there's no mistake. You buy for that exact device that you need, and pay for that and check out. For partners, we need to add you in Marketplace in a special way. So you have to provide your myzyxel email to your sales rep so that we can give you the correct partner discount and approve you for the partner discount pricing. So that when you go through Marketplace to buy for your device or for a customer's device, it gives you the proper discounts. Otherwise, you'll be seeing the normal kind of street price, end user pricing on Marketplace now. So we want you to do that. So also, if you are in need of buying just a key, rather than doing the keyless way, we have a site called within the myzyxel as well that takes you to what we call Marketplace Express. Now, Marketplace Express is kind of a separate kind of platform that gives you keys for bundled products, and also one-time things like VPN licenses, Nebula licenses as well. So you buy with that, you buy in that, you check out using that. Now, you have to, once you get set up with Marketplace, we also provide you we activate a coupon so that inside Marketplace Express, you get a discount when you purchase those that matches up with your, aligns with what you would buy, let's say discounted at distribution. So I'm going to jump actually into that, like a demo there. So let me go to my Zyxel real quick here. Let me share this screen, new share. Where's mine? All right, there we go. So now when you go to myzyxel.com and you log in, this is the portal that you will typically kind of see. At the top, you'll see a tab for Marketplace. And if you click into Marketplace, it's going to end up opening up, where Marketplace is. But before that, I wanted to make sure that at the top here, there should be a button somewhere right here that says Request Reseller View. If you are not already a reseller, and that when you open that up, it gives you different reports. It gives you access to upload, mass upload licenses if you need to, but the reports are really good. Again, it could tell you, hey, what's expiring over the next month on my customer devices, and it'll spit that out and give you some action items onto how to, to get in touch with your customers. So in Marketplace, I think this is very important to get to understand. Let me log back in because I timed out. So in Marketplace, it's where you get to activate devices itself. So I'm going to take a look at my my device lists. Those are client lists. So here's my list of them. So they will show up as devices here. Your client list is if they chose you as a managing, a managing VAR for their device, then they will show up on that client list. If I want to buy a license here, it shows you the statuses and what's expired. You can click that to see what the expirations and what services are expired as a note here. But if you want to click into it, you can click there to add it. You go to next. So you can choose multiples at once. And people may ask, well, how do I buy other services or things like that? Now where to go? So here it pops in here. It gives you the full bundle. And people say, well, how do I buy just individuals and not buy the bundle? Well, you click into the license name itself. It opens it up. It shows you the different options that you can buy. You can see that the bundle has been checked here, and it has individual license, which has been blocked out. Now, if you uncheck the bundle, you can then choose individual licenses. Of course, we encourage you to buy the bundle because it's more cost effective. If you're going to buy 2 of these licenses, you're better off just to buy the entire thing, right? So if you can see here, it's $144.99. This is the MSRP for antivirus. This is the MSRP for content filtering. If you buy the 2 most common services here, then you've already, you're already on the 5-in-1 pricing. So it's better to just buy the pack. It gives you all of the services, including the Security Reporter Premium Edition, things like that. So you go through that and you say, okay, well, I'm going to confirm that. And then you can add that to the cart. All right, you add it to the cart, you check out. And then once it's paid for and confirmed, then that particular device, that serial device, that exact device will get extended with those licenses. So again, there's no keys that you have to worry about. You'll get an invoice, which then you can either charge to your customer or however you want to manage that part of the business. All right, so also within my Marketplace, you'll notice at the top, it's a place to buy some VPN type products. Let me try to load that. So when you go to here, you'll see it says Marketplace Express at the top. This is where you could buy one-time things. You can buy, bundled licenses. So you'll see here, we have some bundled licenses, the secure, if you're looking for the VPN clients, you can add these to the cart. And remember, when you're in the Marketplace Express, you have to use your email address for your Zyxel to get that discount, to get the coupon discount. All right, so we map it to your Zyxel email account, but you have to have it activated. So make sure if you want to use this platform and get your discounts through the platform, contact to your sales rep at Zyxel, and they will add you. And it takes about 24 hours for it to get activated. But once it's activated, then you'll get your pricing plan and everything in activated there. So this is where you could still get some of the traditional license keys, or if you're trying to buy license points for Nebula to extend your services over at Nebula, you can buy the points system here as well. All right, so that's for people who use Nebula. You can use that Nebula calculator that lets you handle all of that. All right, does that make sense? Let's go back to my slideshow here. So really, that's where you really want to be able to handle your licensing and those views. So make sure you reach out. I know there's might be a little bit of confusion on that, but if you don't see your pricing, that means your account has not yet been set up to get the pricing, and that's where you want to reach out to our sales reps to do that. And of course, you want to have that reseller view so that you can add your customers' devices. And there's a spot when you add a device to choose a VAR. And that's where you put your name and your company name. It'll pop up in there as you're typing it out. And that's how you'll be able to see it in the client devices within Marketplace. Okay. All right. I'm going to try to speed along here. All right. So we also are, Zyxel is one of the 7 brands in the world that actually has AWS and Microsoft Azure certification through that. So we're able to support both of those on the Amazon side and on the Microsoft side for a direct VPN connectivity to their cloud system. So if you have applications that use their cloud, check out Zyxel's products to do so. Our portfolio, again, just a range of products. Our USG series is our, kind of our previous generation, but it still works in a lot of applications. If you're looking for a little bit more of a budget device that still does full UTM capabilities, then our USG series is there. Still be able to handle a lot of connectivity. If you're looking for the smaller home office that might be, less than 50 megs, then the USG 40 could be in that place. But of course, if you're looking for higher speeds, then you do want to go to the USG Flex line. But just know that they still exist, and they'll still be here for a little while as we are, expanding the USG Flex line. Or you can move to the ATP line as well. So ATP is our flagship product. It's Advanced Threat Protection Firewall. It has everything that you would see in a USG Flex, plus sandboxing capabilities and enhanced UTM, being able to do both express mode and the normal signature mode at the same time. Now, the big one is, of course, sandboxing. So we're going to dive deeper into what sandboxing is. So conventional UTM uses a signature based to kind of look at heuristics, reputations to find out what to block. But its biggest problem is, how do we block 0-day type, or how do we even do any kind of connectivity check or any kind of threat check on something that it doesn't even know? So conventional UTM can only block what it knows. So you have all these signature database and these patches and stuff that are in this engine, and it's pretty good at saying, hey, this is good and this is bad, and it knows how to differentiate that. But there's a lot of gray area, which then you can get false positives or even false negatives that can slip by. So you have to use something called sandboxing and artificial intelligence to manage that. So we actually have that within our products in the ATP. So we're able to conquer unknown security threats. 0-day threats are out there, and they can have these variations, but that means unknown threats, is not part of any kind of signatures. But the ATP can actually block those kinds of suspicious traffic while still maintaining high throughput performance to keep that user moving at the speed that they want to be used. Now, it's still providing them with the protection. Now, these unknown files are then isolated using sandboxing techniques and technology and pushed into the cloud for analysis. And it's all part of a smart cloud intelligence ecosystem, and being able to identify these unknown threats, analyze them in real time, and then see if they are safe or not for future threat identification. So ATP employs machine learning in the AI in the cloud, and it gets really, it evolves over time. And this is how it manages that. So let's say there's an unknown threat that comes in to the firewall. The firewall doesn't know what it is, so it actually will throw it into the cloud. And inside the sandbox, we will emulate the packets. We'll look at the patterns. We'll try to contain to see what it does. Is it making some sort of weird connection? Is it trying to connect to a server? Is it going out of the country? Is it doing something that shouldn't be for its kind of a typical behavior, right? So then it identifies it, whether or not it is a malicious attack, and sends that and gives that some sort of defense intelligence. Now, it doesn't stop there, because then we update our signatures, we update the information into the cloud. So basically, the more devices that we have out there, the more devices that are using these engines and this AI technology within our partner ecosystem, it will just get stronger in terms of, if somebody on the other side of the world sees a malicious file, then on this side of the world, the ATPs will now have the ability to block them, because it can then see and get that information. And so all the devices that are part of this ecosystem, it will now be protected. It's kind of like, an inoculation by somebody else having that. We see what it is, we analyze it, and now everybody else is immune or protected from it. All right. So that's how we do that within this technology, and be able to more, find a lot more of those kinds of unknown threats. So this is the ATP product line. ATP 100, 100W comes with a wireless access point built in. Now, all of our security appliances all have a built-in wireless LAN controller. So even if it does not have wireless built into it, like these models, you can use any one of our Zyxel managed access points, plug it into the network. It can do a self-discovery, can do a auto provisioning, auto configuration kind of setup. So the hardware itself, the ATP, the USGs, can become the controller itself. So really, you don't need a separate controller to be able to do that. all of that can be housed within that. And it also allows for you to upgrade to the newest wireless technologies, more consistently, because wireless technology changes much quicker than like the security technologies or switch network technologies. All right, so we have a range. Now, of course, you see the numbers there. We will eventually have all of our USG flexes in that same numbering system as well. Now, all of our bundled products come with a Secu Reporter, and you might be wondering what Secu Reporter is. It is a centralized reporting in the cloud for all of your firewall products. It gives you analysis, reporting, alerting, monitoring, and a visualization of what's going on in your in your network. Now, the big cool thing that is really provides a great tool for your end customers is that it provides a ability to do custom reports. You can monthly create these custom reports with the data, email to you, and then email to your customer, however you want it to go. But it will give you a summary of, what threats, how much traffic you used, who was the most, what sites were visited the most, who used the most bandwidth, what device used the most bandwidth, and provide that as a, a monthly report, just as a threat report, and also a utilization report to justify, your services that you've provided, right? If you're charging a monthly fee as a managed service provider for security management, you could say we've blocked, 250 these kinds of malware devices. You had this many attacks, right? You can show value in something that people are paying for. And I think that's the biggest thing that most people, small businesses who don't realize that they're being attacked, really don't see the value of it unless you show them, because it's nothing tangible. Something is happening on the network, but they don't see it. So this report really gives you kind of some meat on what the product is actually doing for them and the protection that they're getting, right? Being able to visually see all of that information within a report. Now I wanted to move to Nebula. We're about halfway through in terms of the slides, but we can move a lot quicker through these ones. So Nebula is our cloud-based platform, a central management cloud. It's pretty much like a Meraki, if you've used Meraki before. On that, we have a wide range of products that are working within the cloud for all that central cloud management. I'll say Kevin has a question. How well do these devices do when you have security cameras? Most cameras being viewed through 1080p. Customers want them working fast and clean. So it depends on your uplink, because even if your cameras are working at 1080p, maybe your limitations are the upload speed. So customers who are watching from maybe a mobile device may not be getting that bandwidth anyways. But I think most cameras can do HD 1080p at less than 3 megs and 3 megs a second. So as long as your upload speed can handle, let's say 4 megabits, 6 megabits per second on an upload speed side, then there shouldn't be any problem seeing the cameras. You can also set priorities for those security cameras so that they have priority bandwidth if you want, if they're using that application outside the office to get that connection, that view into the camera. So if it's compressed at 265, 264 compression, then it should be pretty much, pretty small bandwidth. It's not using raw connectivity. But if you're doing a raw stream, even a raw, live stream is, goes 1080p at 4,500 kilobits per second. So it should be perfectly fine to be able to do that as long as your WAN connection can handle that. So of course, the view of a mobile device is going to be a lot smaller than that because it's going to be compressed already. So there should be no problems with handling that within the system. As long as you want to, if you want to prioritize it, you want to give it bandwidth for that application, you can do that within the profiles of these devices. They're very flexible to saying what devices, what applications, what kind of usage can have certain sort of profiles. Thank you for the question there, Kevin. All right, so we want to go to the Nebula. Nebula offers free, no hassle network management. We say free because we offer the cloud for free. There are some additional paid features. So if you're looking at doing more advanced functionalities, cloning of devices, those kinds of things, I'll talk a little bit about what those are. But you want to move into a professional pack, which then is a paid service. But if you are just competing in hey, I just need some basic management, basic provisioning, and setting it up without unboxing it, than you have Nebula to offer. So you can set up without even taking it out of the box. There is a QR code that was in the box and also on the belly label of the product that you can scan in or type in with the Nebula Control Center. And the serial number and MAC address information gets put into the cloud. It then registers them to your account. And once that device goes online, you can actually configure it, or even you can pre-configure it as well. You can actually configure it ahead of time. So once you've scanned the device, even before you scan the device, you can configure a site to have certain configurations. You can have them preset with the SSID, what devices that are going to be there, what its security information is, what switches, and what's VLANs, etc. And once the device plugs into the internet, it actually dials home. You don't need any additional hardware. You don't need any additional cloud keys or anything like that within the network to manage it. Each device has its own agent that calls back to the Nebula cloud system. And once it gets there, it says, hello, I am, a switch. Who do I belong to? And so then it goes, oh, you belong to, you belong to Try. And so this customer gets it gets pushed to configuration, gets pushed the latest firmware that it needs, and then literally you could be up and running within minutes. So you can imagine how that could be in our environment today, how to do remote installations or even touchless installations, as long as the end user is able to take the hardware, plug it into the internet connectivity and then each device is plugged into each other. It works great. Right. So Kevin says it works great. So thank you, Kevin, for that comment. It's now hit a new milestone in terms of number of products. I think we've now approached 50,000 devices that are currently on the Nebula platform right now. And so it continues to grow, and it's starting to grow exponentially as more and more people are realizing, hey, I can actually do this remote installation. I can deliver a box to the doorstep of the customer and have contactless, installation. They just take it in, some basic instructions, plug the device, the gateway into your internet modem, your switch into the gateway on port 1. Then you take the access points that we've provided and plug it into the switch, right? And then we'll take it from there. Once it's powered on, comes online, you can configure that remotely. You can do it anywhere you have internet access, on a tablet, on a mobile, or on a PC. Anywhere that you have internet connectivity, you have visibility into the Nebula Control Center to see all the alerts, to manage the device all within a single pane, manage your multiple devices, multiple customers in a single pane as well. You can manage all of your customer clients in a single pane of glass using our multi-tenant organization kind of setup within Nebula. It's kind of like a tier structure. You start as an organization at the top. Each organization can have multiple sites. You can see the network health of each organization. You can see the network health of the site, and you can drill into those as well. We have a more extensive Nebula training that we do once a month as well. So take a look at that either as a recorded webinar, or we have future ones that are coming up in a couple weeks that talk about more about in-depth of the Nebula. But I wanted just to tell you on the higher level, you can see all of the connected devices as well within that view. And you can drill into that to see more information about each one of those devices. As we have that information, you can see the Wi-Fi health. Again, you get network insights on how much power is being used, utilization of bandwidth, a lot of cool views. You can go check out, if you go to nebula.zyxel.com, you'll see a demo login. The username and password is all right there in the login. You can go and log in and check it out for yourself and kind of do a test drive of the system. That's nebula.zyxel.com. You have port information for your switches and also bandwidth utilization there. And of course, we mentioned it's free, right? So all of that so far we've talked about is part of the free program, free of it. But we also have Nebula Flex. So Nebula Flex comes from a free mode, and that can be upgraded into a Pro mode. So you have a Nebula Pro, which provides you some additional functions, advanced monitoring features, functionalities in the access points, the switches, the machine learning capabilities of switches in the Wi-Fi to enhance the traffic utilization, monitoring features, technologies for the VAR installer within the Wi-Fi health, IGMP reporting, some centrally other managed information, that is all part of that. And also partner support for projects and things like that within the Nebula Flex Pro. So this is part of the Pro. You get some of the visualizations. You can get automatic VPN topology, throughput information, local network topology, network diagram information within the Pro view. And it helps with the troubleshooting to see what may be disconnected. If you're doing anything related to IPTV, the Pro also gives you now information and reports for multicast control IGMP and insights on what the channels are doing. You can monitor and report on the channels. It optimizes them as well within the system for machine learning. And the reporting options are really cool because it actually can provide you and your customer information about what channels are being watched over the last 30 days and its popularity. And again, it will tell you and machine learn and tell you maybe the solutions on how to better configure the device to make it more optimal for IPTV. So these are just some of the features that we added within Nebula. All right, so that's a quick rundown of Nebula. And so I'm going to jump into wireless real quick. Wireless is definitely a challenge for some people, because the main challenge for wireless is that there is no wire. You can't really see what's going on with the network. You just know if it works or it doesn't work or works poorly. And there's it's very difficult to troubleshoot, right? To say like, well, what's really causing, my failure in traffic? Is it actually the access point? Is it the client device? Is it the network? Is it the internet connection? There's a lot of question marks that come into play, but there is one thing that we do, and we do kind of be able to handle about Wi-Fi. It's basically because there are issues that happen when you look at Wi-Fi. So what are the issues? You want to be able to have better speeds, better performance, better connectivity, but there are things that happen when you add more things to the network, when you add more devices. Wireless environments are susceptible to co-channel interference. And what is co-channel interference and how do we mitigate that? So this is your traditional kind of access point. It's providing service within a network area in the office. You may have some adjacent devices or other access points that might be causing some interference or even non-Wi-Fi interference. So it's emanating that information and it's causing some interference and traffic degradation to some of the clients that are in that office itself. So how does smart antenna work? So here's an example of smart antenna. So smart antenna actually uses a kind of like a beam shaping on our device itself. It dynamically changes itself. So when it sees interference coming from a particular device, it will scan and select from over 700 optimized antenna patterns to find what is the optimal beam configuration and combination to shape towards the client. And my example is, if I'm the access point and you are the client, if I cup my hands like this, it will increase the direction of my signal and my voice. At the same time, if I cup my ears, which is what it's doing, it's listening better. I can hear myself talk really loud right now, and it's because it's reflecting off the screen, but that's the same exact concept. And I don't hear anything that's happening behind me, right? Or I hear less of what's happening. So the interference is not disturbing or affecting me as much. So that's what the technology does. And why does co-channel interference, why is that important, or why is that a big deal? It's because with Wi-Fi, you're both trying to compete against the same exact space of traffic time. So the more people who are trying to communicate at the same time, I don't know if you have kids, but I have 3 kids of my own. And if they all decide to talk at the same time, nobody gets anything like understood, right? So that's kind of what's happening with Wi-Fi. Everybody's trying to talk, yell, scream, that give me traffic, give me food, whatever it is, right? And nobody can understand anything. It's pretty much jarbled, and it has to keep on retrying. And that's where your degradation in traffic goes down and your utilization goes down. So smart antenna helps to improve that. It helps to increase capacity, increases coverage, reduces interference in that process. So we do that both on the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz. So smart antenna is one of the few patented technologies that are out there that can actually do this. So Zyxel is one of the vendors who actually has a smart antenna technology patent for this kind of technology. So again, this is just a quicker example of how it does. So we also designed for the ultimate experience, making sure that our products are not just a PCB and a piece of plastic. We fine-tuned the antennas, the positioning, the shielding of the antennas, as well as the chipsets for the Wi-Fi controllers as well in the device itself, with also the housing and the shielding. And that's why we can back our products with a lifetime warranty on them. We have Nebula and Nebula Flex Pro type products. So we have a Flex, which you can use in standalone in a free mode, or you can move them into the Nebula Cloud. So these are some of the models that are out there. You can look at it and more deeply in our website. We also have ranges that can go both in the Pro Nebula or standalone, or in controller mode, be controlled by a USG Flex, or an ATP. Let's see, Lewis asks, how can I test it? Can I have an NFR for test? Yes, absolutely, Lewis. Contact our sales rep. They can work on getting you an NFR unit for these purposes. Okay, so the business class, then we have our WAC, which is our wireless smart antenna mode product line. So these are the ones that have the smart antenna. So this is more of our higher end products. And then we just released some of our WAX models, WAX 510, WAX 610, and we've had out there now for a while our WAX 650S. So the 650S comes with the smart antenna technology, and we have our lower cost versions of those available now. All right, so the last topic, which I'm going to try to speed through in the next 4 minutes, is switching. I mean, switching is very important because it is kind of the backbone of all your applications. It's your PoE, it's for your cameras, all those kinds of things. Kevin asked a question on the APs, are we competing with Amazon? So the thing with our partner program is that even if we, you use our partner program to get the discounts, so you will always have Amazon there as a baseline in terms of what the price will be, the average or the street price. But when you're using our partner program, you're going to get double-digit margins when you're selling even at the Amazon price. That's how we've positioned it. So as long as you qualify for our partner program, that shouldn't be a problem. That's how we manage the Amazon visibility versus our partner program. So switching is very important. So just going through some basics. ES just stands for an Ethernet switch, which is 10100. GS is our gigabit switch, which is a gigabit connection. Our XS is our 10 gig, and it can include multi-gig. So it's primarily all the ports are 10 gig related. The XGS, they are all gigabit switch ports, except the uplinks are 10 gig. So that the X is just Roman numeral for 10. MGS is our metros, any kind of metro switches or carrier type switches. If it ends with a P or an HP, they are PoE type switches. If it ends with an F, then it's a fiber switch, meaning the ports are fiber transceiver ports. And we may have some switch combo ports. Those are basically a copper and a fiber. You'll see the naming of them will be the same. So in this particular case, this would be like port 9. Both of these will be labeled port 9, and this would be labeled as port 10. And you can only use one or the other. You cannot use both at the same time. So it gives you still the flexibility to do fiber and copper as you need. And the fiber ports come with transceivers. So the ones with the F, they can be used as SFPs for gigabit, or SFP plus typically is the uplink for 10 gig. And those need to get an extended transceiver for you to connect those fibers together. Or if you don't have that and you just want to uplink switches together using stacking, or if it has transceivers of 10 gig, we do provide what we call direct attached cables, the DAC cables, DAC cables, and they come in pre-made links so that you can just plug in the transceiver on one end and the transceiver on the other end to make the connection. So that's an easy kind of uplink capability. PoE, so we provide PoE both as a 15.4 watt, which is the 802.3AF, the 30 watt AT, and the 60 watt BT versions that's coming out soon. So PoE is a very important application. We provide what we call intelligent PoE. So we can control each port. We can provide based on the budget. And this is where we really differentiate ourselves on how our PoE works. So let's say in this example, this one's not a great example. So let me move to the next one. So let's say an IP camera. It's classified as a class 4, which is a 30 watt standard. In a normal switch, If you wanted to power up 20 of these devices, it would cost you 600 watts of power. But with Zyxel's consumption mode and intelligent PoE, the device actually only draws and use a maximum of 16 watts. So we actually can power up 20 devices using only 320 watt power supply. That means the 375 watts within our switch is plenty to provide the power needed to power up 20 of these IP pan tilt zoom cameras. So that's where we can actually maximize. So we power, Zyxel powers just powers up more devices out there. So we have a very a wide range of products as well, provides different layers of management and PoE capabilities. So our newest series, this is probably our bread and butter here. It's our 1920 series and our XGS 1930. So this is our 10 gig version. This is our gigabit version, and they come with non-PoE and PoE budgets of up to 375 watts. If you want to go to a 10 gig uplink, we just launched our XS 1930 series, both all 10 gig copper and 10 gig with PoE. So this one has 8 ports of PoE on this 12 HP product. So it's 10 gig copper with PoE plus, with 375 watts of PoE. So that can power up your, this is the switch that you would use to power up our new WAX Wi-Fi 6 access points. All right, so if you're going to use that. So this is our smart managed switch in our 1920s. This is one of our most popular switches out there for the small business and for partners today. And then this is just a little deeper look into our 10 gig switches. You can use 10 gig on existing Cat5, but make sure you know that it only has a distance limitation. If you want to get to 10 gigs, you have to use Cat 6. If you use Cat 6, it only goes up to 55 meters. You have to use Cat 6A to get to the full 100 meters of your Ethernet connection. All right, so this gives you a quick rundown on that. And our XS 1930 has multiple displays. You have the 60 watt PoE capable on gigabit ports, or sorry, on 10 gig ports. Also multi-gig ports. So there are 8 ports that support 2.5 gig, 5 gig, and 10 gig on the copper ports here. All right, so lastly is our partner program. Again, if you have not yet signed up with our partner program, reach out to our sales reps, because you get, as a new partner, you start out in the silver. That gives you double-digit margins if you were to even sell at Amazon pricing, visible pricing. We reserve that for partners and partners only, so that they can still make margins, add value to that. You get access to deal registrations, webinars, tech support, finance, leasing, an account manager, and also some demo discounts as well. You only have to maintain basically 1K a month sales in Zyxel products, which is like a firewall, like one firewall a month, and you'll maintain the silver pricing. We want you to get to the gold though, and that's about 2K per month to get to maximum margin support, as well as sales engineer access, advanced replacement access, lead referrals. So we get leads, we send them to you, things like that. All right, so I know we've gone through like a lot of slides, almost 100 slides here. If you have any questions, if you didn't ask those, feel free to ask them now. But I think since we're short on time, you can send me an email if you have any questions. It's try@zyxel.com. I forgot to introduce myself in the beginning, but my name is Try, when I am the North American Market Development Manager and Sales Manager here at Zyxel US in Anaheim, California. Though I am been working remote since March. So we're still here remote. But again, we thank you for considering Zyxel. Thank you for choosing Zyxel as a potential partner, network ally. If you have any questions, send me at try@zyxel.com. So at this time, if there are no questions, I'm probably going to say, we're going to sign off now, let you guys go. Thank you for spending the last hour, a little bit over an hour with me in learning more about Zyxel. I hope that we can help you. Reach out to your sales rep, make sure that they have your contact if you haven't already. Get yourselves onto that marketplace. If you're looking to use My Zyxel and My Zyxel Marketplace for your licenses for your products, get yourselves added to the pricing there. Get your coupons so you can do that at the Marketplace Express. And you have any questions, any projects, any things you want to help us, want us to help you build out on, good, better, best for your solutions for your customers, yeah, reach out to us if necessary. Your sales rep will pull in a systems engineer, or also pull in myself or Sean, who are the product managers of our product lines. Be able to come in into the conversation and make sure that you have, the options that you need for the application and for the results that you're looking for to getting. So again, thank you so much for spending the time, and look forward to seeing you at another Tech Talk or another webinar coming soon. So until then, have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, and we look forward to being your networking ally. Take care.